Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at a real story to answer a very real question. Why do most people lose sudden wealth? Our case is about Michael Carroll, a man from the UK who went from being a garbage collector to a millionaire overnight, only to blow it all and return to an ordinary life. Here's the story. In 2002, Carroll was 19 doing odd jobs in a small town in Norfolk. His family background was unstable, his father absent, and he grew up with no real financial education. One day, he spent just £1 on a lottery ticket and won nearly £9.7 million. Money rushed into his life like a storm, flipping his narrow world upside down. He bought luxury cars, mansions, threw endless parties, and got lost in gambling and drugs. Not long after winning, his marriage with his wife Sandra fell apart. By around 2010, most of the money was gone. He declared bankruptcy and went back to physical labor. Even more dramatic, a few years later, reports say he reunited with his ex-wife, and his life returned to a calmer, quieter rhythm. From this rise and fall, we see three key threads: the lack of early education, the sudden arrival of windfall wealth without enough personal foundation, and the crucial role of close relationships, especially marriage, in stabilizing money. Now let's bring in a traditional metaphysical perspective and connect it with reality. First, there's a big difference between windfall wealth and earned wealth. Windfall wealth is like sudden water from the outside. It comes in fast but without roots. Earned wealth, or proper wealth, is the steady accumulation through work and business. If sudden money isn't grounded by discipline, rules, or inner stability, it vanishes as quickly as it appears. Second, in Chinese metaphysics, there's a saying, "The wife is the wealth." It doesn't mean treating a spouse as money, but it emphasizes that marriage is a stabilizing energy field in family life. A spouse often anchors daily order, emotions, and the flow of resources. When a couple shares the same values about money and responsibility, wealth can settle. But if they're out of sync, or if sudden fortune breaks the balance, the financial container shatters. Carroll's divorce right after his big win perfectly fits this idea. The family support system broke, and the money leaked away. His later reunion with his wife symbolized a return to balance, though the money was long gone. So why do so many people lose sudden wealth? From a metaphysical view, Carroll's case was almost inevitable. The moment the money hit his hands, he spent recklessly. To him, he was a king, but energetically, his field had been blown open. Wealth is like energy. When it has roots, it settles. Without roots, it floats away. Worse still, his family energy was shattered. Windfall wealth rushed in, his marriage collapsed, and it was as if the vault door had been left wide open. Add to that the timing of his life cycles. He was in a period known as rob wealth, or friends taking wealth, which means the environment, people around him, and his own impulses would naturally drain whatever he had. Even if he wanted to hold on, the tide was against him. That's why, from this angle, Carroll didn't lose his fortune just because of foolish choices. It was no root in his chart, unstable energy, marriage disruption, and unlucky timing. Four forces stacked together, and that windfall was destined to vanish, like fireworks, bright for a moment, then gone. But let's imagine a different story. What if the same £10 million fell into the hands of someone else? Picture a man named David, 30 years old, running a small business in a town. Ordinary background, but happily married with a child. His chart shows strong study and discipline energy, plus stable, proper wealth. On top of that, his life cycle is flowing in a way that generates income. If David wins £10 million, what happens? First, he won't go crazy spending. His inner energy makes him learn first, think first. He'll consult accountants, lawyers, maybe even take classes on money management. In metaphysics, this is called knowledge containing wealth. Second, his stable marriage becomes the vault. His wife helps him plan. Part of the money goes into real estate, part into an education fund for their child. Another part reinvested into steady business ventures. The money enters a container and doesn't spill. Third, his life cycle supports him. He's in a phase that produces wealth, like a spring pushing water into his reservoir. Over time, that one-time jackpot transforms into lasting income. Years later, he might be running multiple shops, his fortune growing instead of vanishing. So you see, the same 10 million in Carroll's hands was a flood breaking a dam. In David's hands, it became water-nourishing fertile land. The money itself isn't good or bad. The difference lies in whether your life has the container to hold it. The lesson is simple. Windfalls aren't scary, but facing them without roots is. With roots you can preserve and grow. Without roots, money comes as a guest and leaves just as quickly.